Hello everyone, this is Rido here, and today we're taking another look at some Warcry mechanics. So someone pointed out that it would be kind of interesting to see which warbands had the capability of one-hitting weak models. That can be important in many cases, I agree, because if you are strong enough to use a move first, so move up to an opponent and then kill them in one go, that is very strong. Or even maybe if you get like tagged in combat by an enemy cheap model, by a chaff model, who wants to stop you from moving, and you can kill them in one swing and then still move after that. That's also very beneficial. So being able to one hit small chaff models can be very important. So therefore, I took a look at all of my lists that I have, and then I checked through the damages against toughness 2, against toughness 3, and against toughness 4, and saw how much damage each of the fighters in these lists can do, and if there are any that are strong enough to kill a 6 wound model with toughness 2, an 8 wound model with toughness 2, a 8 wound model with toughness 3, 10 wounds toughness 3, 8 wounds toughness 4, and 10 wounds toughness 4, because those are basically all of our chaff options, so to speak. So obviously toughness 2 and 6 wounds is something not many models have. You can see that for the snakes, for example, I think. The giant rats and the ether wings. The snakes might even have 8 wounds. But anyways, the giant rats and the ether wings, so some 35-point models, really cheap models, those have toughness 2 and 6 wounds. And the toughness 2 8 wounds, that's something like the Seraphon bolt spitters, so the skinks basically. Those have toughness 2 and 8 wounds. Being able to kill those in one swing can be very powerful, because obviously those are strong models and they will try to keep away from you, so you'll most of the time have to move in first before you can attack them. So if you can move in and then kill them in one attack, that's going to be very good. Then we've got a lot of toughness 3 8 wounds. I think this is the most common chaff model in there. That's something like your plains runner for untamed beasts, or your clan rats, I think, although they might be toughness 4, your plague monks, and so on. There's tons of models with toughness 3 8 wounds. There's the Idoneth Deepkin Reapers and the Thralls and so on. So anyways, there's tons of those. Then we've got toughness 3 10 wounds. There's also quite a few of those. You can see those for the Unmade, for example. They have toughness 3 10 wound models. The what else? There's the sorry, Spire Tyrants, for example, have toughness 3 10 wounds, and so on. There's a lot more. Toughness 4 is quite rare for very cheap models. It's present on some things like skeletons, I think. They have toughness 4 and 8 wounds. And yeah, there's a couple in there. And then the toughness 4 10 wounds. I hesitate to call this even chaff. It's most of the time those are models that are already like 100 points and above. I just threw it in there out of interest, but as you can see, a lot of zeros here, so not many warbands have the capability of one-hitting an enemy like that. So let's go through the warbands. Let me explain what all of these numbers mean. So for example, in the Untamed Beasts warband, we have 3 models that are capable of killing 6 wounds on average in one swing. That's 2 Rocktusk Prowlers and a Heart Eater in that case. None of those, though, is able to deal 8 wounds on average per swing, so none of these will qualify for this. So Untamed Beasts, not the greatest capabilities of one-hitting Chaff. And we got Spire Tyrants, even worse for those. Only the champion, so the pit leader, I think it is, or whatever, the pit champion, he's the only one who's able to one-hit a cheap Chaff model. Then we've got the Corvus Cabal. They are doing a bit better. That's because the Strike Talon has a very good damage output. He can deal 8 damage in a single swing on average. So since I'm taking 2 of those guys in this list, we have someone who's so 2 models who are able to even take down toughness 3 8 wound model in one single activation. That is pretty powerful, and especially if you add to that the Strike Talon has 8 movement, so you'll almost be able to reach any opponent on the battlefield and then swing again, and that should be enough to take them down. So really, really nice there. Then we've got the Cypher Lords. They have a lot of really, really high damage models. For their list, they've got the Thrallmaster, and I used 3 of the Mirror Blades with Glaives and 1 of the Mirror Blades with dueling swords. Now the Glaives don't have quite enough damage to take down 8 wounds in one swing. The guy with dueling swords does though, so that's why you see this. The Thrallmaster and the dueling swords are the ones who can deal 8 wounds. Against toughness 2 and 3 doesn't matter. And then against toughness 3, the Thrallmaster is able to deal 10 wounds as well. And he's able to do 8 against toughness 4. So the Thrallmaster is crazy, crazy strong in melee. Very, very good at taking down Chaff models on his own. Splintered Fang, they have 4 models that are able to do the decent enough damage output to deal 6 wounds, but none of them are able to deal 8 wounds in a swing. Similarly for Iron Golems, the Ogre Breacher and the Dominar, and I think the Drill Master as well, they are all able to do 6 wounds, but none of them are able to do more than that in one swing. So yeah, they are very disappointing damage output wise. Then we got the Unmade, and you probably won't be surprised to see this. Most of the Unmade roster does not have good damage output. However, the Blissful one, basically just like the Thrallmaster, very good damage output, and she's able to take down basically all kinds of Chaff models apart from this 10 wound one again. Then we've got the Idoneth. What's interesting for them is that the Namati Thralls, so the basic Chaff guys for these guys, have high enough damage output to be able to one-hit 6 wound models. So that's very interesting. You've got a lot of models able to take down these guys, and the cheapest Chaff. However, none of their models are able to take down anything above that, because even the most powerful units in the eels don't have great damage output. Then we've got the Caradrons, kind of the same deal. Many of their models are able to take down something very low wounded, but none of them are able to deal good high damage. For Sylvaneth, even though, yeah, I've got 2 Kerneth Hunter through swords in there and 1 Spider Revenant Leader. All of these are good damage. The Spider Revenant Leader is even good enough damage to deal 8 wounds, so he can take down a skink in one activation. Sorry, that was him. Then we've got Seraphon. They don't have great damage overall because it's mostly ranged in the list I'm taking. You've seen my list video. It's basically all ranged skinks. They obviously do not have the damage to take down. Sorry, to take down anything. You only have your leader, the Saurus God leader. He's capable of doing a bit of damage, but everything else is not. Then we've got the Daughters of Cain. Only the Blood Sister leader is going to be the one able to puts out some serious damage here, but she is strong enough to kill even a toughness 4 8 wound model. So the Bloodsister leader, someone to really watch out for. Stormcast Vanguard, yeah, none of their guys are dealing very high damage, which is no surprise again. Range damage is always lower than melee damage, so the Griffhounds, they deal enough damage to take down a 6 wound model, but not enough to take down an 8 wound one. Stormcast Warrior Chamber, that's obviously a different kind of thing. You only have 5 models, but each of these is able to take down a 6 wound model, and 4 of them are even able to take down 8 wounds. So I think that's very impressive. Since one of them has strength 5, the Paladin with Great Hammer has strength 5 as well, so he can take down the 8 wound toughness 4 as well. Not quite the 10 wound models, but yeah, this is some very, very strong one-hit potential. And we've got the Stormcast Mages, what's it called, the Sacrosanct Chamber. A lot lower damage here because they are less attacks in general, not just as high damage output, so only able to take down 6 wound models. Then we've got the Fire Slayers. Yeah, they are just the only guy, the leader is able to deal some serious damage here. For Skaven, it's a bit different because we've got a Red Ogre, and the Red Ogre just nukes anything here. He deals so much damage on one attack that he can basically kill all opponents. Nurgle Mortals, it's not going to surprise you, they are shit. Then we got the Nurgle Demons. A bit better damage output because they aren't as limited in the range of models they have to bring, but again, no great damage output here. And we've got the Khorne Mortals. The Korgorath is very strong, and I think the leader type I'm bringing is also very good. That's the guy with the chains. Forgot what his name was, but yeah, he's also dealing very good damage. And then we've got the Khorne Demons. Decent one-hit potential, especially from the Fleshhound leader. He can at least deal 8 wounds against toughness 3, so that's going to be most chaff models he can take down in one swing. For Slaanesh, they are a lot worse, of course. Only your leader who's dealing some moderate damage, but Slaanesh is really a warband about movement and about survivability and far less about damage, so yeah, they don't deal great here. And we've got the Slaves of Darkness. Our Chaos Warriors and Chosen are all able to deal 6 wounds, and the Chosen leader is able to deal even 10 wounds against toughness 4, so he's crazy good damage output. Really gotta watch out for him. So also, like, this can be reversed. If you're fighting these warbands, keep in mind, keep your chaff models away from these. Do not think you can slow these guys down with your chaff models, because you can't. They will be slaughtered. Then we've got Siege Mortals. It's just not a high damage output warband in general, so 6 wounds is all you're putting out there. Demons, even worse. Only the Exalted Flame is able to put out 6 wounds in one action. Although, since you are basically the ranged warband if you're playing Siege Demons, it's not that important, because most of the time you don't need to move towards your opponent. You always have 2 actions to kill something. Then we've got Beasts of Chaos. Obviously, all the 3 Bulgors I took are able to throw out 6 damage there. The leader with double weapons, he's very good damage output, so he can deal 8 damage across all toughnesses, so still quite good for taking down chaff. Not quite able to do 10 damage though. Then we've got the Ogres. Again, we have 3 Ogres in this warband, so it's no surprise that we have 3 models that are able to deal 6 wounds. And both the Glutton leader and I think it's the Glutton with double weapons, both of them are able to take down even 10 wound models, so great there. Ironjaws, they have a lot worse damage output in general. they have the one ability that really buffs the damage is of the big things, but that won't apply to any of these chaff models. So to be quite frank with you, I think drowning Ironjaws and chaff is one of the better options to go up against those. Then we've got Gloomspite Kits. Again, they have good damage from their squigs and squig hoppers, but just nothing quite enough to one hit enemies. The Bone Splitters, they have the two what's it called, the big stabbers, who are able to at least do 6 damage on average. And then we've got the Moorboy boss, who is actually a beast in combat. As you can see, he can take down a 10 wound model in one swing, even a toughness 4 8 wound model, so really good there. For the Osiric Bone Reapers, we've got the Stalker with 4 weapons, who's really the one guy who can deal most of the damage. I'm pretty sure this should be a 2, I'm sorry. So he's the strongest one of the bunch. Oh no, this should be a 1, that's fine. Because I think I've only got one Stalker with 4 weapons, then we got the Leader in there as well, and the great weapons. No, I've got 2 Stalkers with great weapons, I'm sorry. So the Stalkers with the 4 weapons, they are able to deal good damage here. Then we've got Flesh Eater Chords. It's really only the Crypt Infernal, so the Leader again, who's able to deal at least 8 wounds against toughness 3, so he's able to take down most of these common chaff models. Spirit Host is the only one for Nighthaunt that can at least deal 6 damage. It's really, really a poor performance for Nighthaunt. Yeah, whatever. And then we've got Legions of Nagash. I think this is really funny because Legions of Nagash is one of the most dangerous warbands in terms of damage, because their Graveguard with great weapons are amazing. However, none of them is quite able to do 6 damage per swing. So this is what this really is why this is really a different look than the average damage warbands deal per action, because on average the Legions of Nagash deal great damage. But if you look at actually killing something in one hit, they're horrible, because they don't have any models that will one hit an opponent. So very interesting to me there. Okay, guys, I hope you, I hope that answered the question whether or not you can one-hit models, and I hope to see you in the next one. I'm working on a new tier list system which has changed everything up quite a bit. I can spoil you a bit and say that neither Skaven nor Seraphon are top of the list anymore. But yeah, more on that later this week. See you around, guys.